So you're going to see some images up here to really portray the importance of my research. So all these images you're going to see right now are events in history that were bad, but we knew about them before they happened. And how do we know about them? There was a code. There's always codes going around. The government knows about codes, usually, but sometimes they don't figure them out, but they are effective. So here's a timeline of codes to really help you understand. 1900 BC, Egyptians used codes on pyramids to hide what they really meant, or what their civilization really, their culture was to other civilizations. Next one would be 100 BC. Julius Caesar used this to send word out to his generals in the war front. 1553, this code is the first actual encryption code, which is kind of used, the basic one that is used today. It looks like your grandma's crossword, pretty much. The next one would be 1920. This is the Germans, what they used during World War I. It's actually the first computer. This is based on the first computer. They just switch them on and off to create new codes every month, every hour. And today, we use 100 million letters and words and symbols to make even one letter that actually comes in a code. But there's a time period where we didn't use numbers, we didn't use symbols, we used something totally different. We used something unique to our country. And I'm going to that's what my research is. My research is about the Navajo code talkers of World War II, words and not weapons. So, at this time period, 1941, the code, their language was not written at all. It's all about sound. This is the sound of it, so I want you to listen, I want you to hear it. So that was just a weather message. You can tell how fluent it sounds. It sounds like a song, and this isn't written at all. That's all they taught. That's just ancient elder language. So what the United States Navy or the Marine Corps did, they made a code out of it. Philip Johnson, he went to the Naval Council. He's lived on a reserve, so he knew the language. He knew how to speak it very well, but he was a veteran of World War I, so he couldn't participate. So he went there and he proposed this new code for the language. So from this language, they gathered 200 Navajo people from the southwestern America. They brought them to the camp and they created this code, which is now called the U.S. Navy Navajo Code. So the first part of the code, it's one level, it's actually two-level code. It starts with the alphabet. As you can tell, this is just E, F, and G, but each letter had three other expressions of that letter. So E, and this in the middle, this is the actual translation now. They have a written translation, or how you can say it. This is the Navajo translation. But then again, you have three other English words to describe one letter. So the next level of that is creating the dictionary. So this is what they had used. They had to interpret this in 60 seconds. That was their job. So again, these are Marine or wartime terms. Again, they don't, in their language, they don't have wartime terms. They have what they like to call culture, or their culture is based on animals and plants and nature, like. So again, this is the middle of it, but over here we see sea force, whale, bird carrier, iron fish. So this is why it got so hard for the enemy to know what they were talking about, because their culture is so unique, and that's what maybe might be the reason why we won the war. So my primary research, I interviewed Michael Zwilling. He's actually professor at the University of Miami. He's a professor in mathematics. However, he studied coding and coding in this era, and he understood he doesn't know the Navajo language, but he knows about it. He said that it was successful because of how unique it was, how different, so new and easily a huge part in why we won World War II. He also went on to say that it's so unique because coming up the time before was all symbols and numbers and letters. And numbers, I said that twice. Then afterwards, it was numbers, symbols. It's like a whole gap in our history was stopped with our language. And it's unique because it's a language to our country. So, again, here's the importance. Without Navajo people or their language, our flag would look like this, or this. But it looks like this. And that's why I think this is important. I know this is very unorthodox. It's like very different kind of presentation, but it's a know that there's the people that we found this country on helped create it. And here's my work site.